Hi guys, welcome back to the Heroes Hype Challenger Series. We had just a short break as these teams are already ready to go, and we're going to be on Dragonshire, Anna.
Yeah, these teams are professionales. They know how to get it done, and they're raring to go back into the battleground. Dragonshire. I feel like we haven't casted on Dragonshire as often recently as we used to. So are you looking forward to the return, Gilly?
I am looking forward to the return. I think these teams have just been figuring some things out on it, and they are ready to show us their Dragonshire skill. It was a pick for compLexity, by the way, so we'll see if they've got anything up their sleeves. But it is a battleground that is characterized by aggression. We're going to hop over to this, and already we're going to see some changes. First of all, no Zeratul.
Yeah, no Zeratul in this game. We did see so far in today's Heroes Hype Challenger Series a 100% win rate for Zeratul picks, so compLexity doesn't want to allow that to happen.
That caster math.
Yeah, I know. I'm really good at caster math. Zagara first ban doesn't necessarily surprise me, but it is a little less mainstream. Jaina first pick, however, totes normal. Kael'thas is also going to be on there right away, and those burst damage dealers are no strangers to the early picks.
Oh, I'm loving what Blaze has done so far. So they see the Kael'thas and the Tyrande, and when you see Tyrande, typically you're thinking, okay, they want to go for a melee assassin, some sort of melee assassin build. So they at least are going to take away Uther here. They've grabbed the Uther, and that's going to mean that they won't have the possibility of like Butcher with the Divine Shield. But, like I mentioned before, some teams have been prioritizing the Malfurion there. So looks like compLexity also want to make sure the Blaze don't get something like an Abathur along with the a melee assassin of their own. They're going to ban Abathur. They've been prioritizing the bans on Abathur, but I do like that they banned out Zeratul. Although because it was a first ban on Zeratul and not the second team banning, that's why I think Blaze was able to say, okay, what do we really not want to deal with? Zagara? Okay, we're going to ban her.
Yeah, good point. And interesting that we're seeing Leoric now on the side of Team Blaze. They feel like they can make really good use of him, and I wonder how we're going to see him synergize. We do have Uther, who is a support, but we've known to be a surrogate tank in some situations. So I have seen some teams use those half tanks with an Uther to kind of supplement them. Though I don't know, do you think that we'll see Team Blaze go with a dual warrior composition here?
I would think so. I think that we will. We're not going to have the Butcher, so I think both teams are kind of fearful of the Butcher, just judging by some of the bans that we've seen so far. But I think it makes a lot of sense on Blaze's side with the Tyrande. But yeah, I think that it would be safe to assume that we would see Blaze go with another warrior. They've already really got damage on lock because they do have that Jaina. compLexity going to fill out their damage, and this looks really strong. They've got Tyrande with the Vala and then Kael'thas too. So we should start seeing them grab either their warrior, probably warrior here, and then support last, since they know that supports are their supports are safe. But they're probably thinking that Blaze are going to be wanting to get a different warrior or another warrior to go with out at Leoric.
Yeah, this tells me that they're not too concerned, really, who their support or warriors are. I mean, of course, there are some that are better than others, but it sounds like compLexity really wanting to make sure that they dominate in the arena of damage, and they're going to go ahead and pick up Rhaegar, which is certainly not a low-end support pick.
Yeah, I really thought they'd want to get Muradin. We see a lot of teams like Muradin and Tyrande, but instead, for whatever reason, maybe they've got some sort of pocket pick on set up for their warrior, or you know, they just really want Rhaegar. Who knows? Who knows? That's the beauty of Heroes, Anna.
That's true. You said pocket pick, and it started me looking at this composition and wondering, like, could we see maybe a melee assassin in a no warrior composition here? Because I think that it would be the ideal setup if you were trying to run something like that. Although I can't say that I think it's a foolproof strategy. Yeah,
and it would have to be Kerrigan, and Kerrigan's effectiveness, their preference of Kerrigan has gone way down. But Arthas has gone way up in the last few weeks. And Blaze are going to kind of say, okay, compLexity, we're going to show you how Leoric Arthas is done. And I really like it. I love Arthas on this battleground. If
I
they
wonder-
Kerrigan right here, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even mind. Probably won't, but it'd be
Well,
cool.
it would be pretty. I mean, actually, that would be pretty killer, Gilly. Because we'd have not only
Killer.
Arthas. Anyways, but we would have the Arthas Kerrigan synergy. We would have the Uther Kerrigan synergy. I like that pick idea because she could really round out the damage and CC in that composition. But they're gonna double up on the structure control, and that actually sounds pretty cool too because that means that they can be a huge threat with the split push on Dragonshire.
Yeah, that's going to be really good. And Kerrigan would have been a lot of melee, 4 melee heroes, with just Jaina hanging out like, I got the back guys,
yeah, I
it's fine.
guess.
But it would have been cool for sure. I like the Sylvanas. I think they're going to be able to do a lot of split pushing. Do you remember that one game we casted where Zevran was like everywhere and was doing kind of sleight of hand stuff? Was that Zevran? With the sleight of hand, whatever team we were casting, and we were like, man, their sleight of hand's so good. They'd like show here and then be somewhere else and taking down structures. They can totally do this with this composition.
Oh, yeah, and I hope they do. Oh, and we're going to have Muradin. So they really did not have to hedge their bets. compLexity didn't on their warrior or their support. They got exactly who they would have wanted, even though they were their last couple picks. So that also a really strong-looking team. Tyrande can add a ton in terms of not only aiding in damage and a little bit in health, but, of course, in vision as well. So that team is very well-rounded.
Yeah, the supports make a lot of sense too. They picked up Rhaegar seeing that there was a Jaina, and then Uther was picked up seeing that there was a Kael'thas. So picking up these supports who are very good handling burst damage, which both sides have. But both sides also have a little more sustained damage in there too. They've got the Vala, they've got the Sylvanas too. So I think very similar teams. One has more sustainability in terms of damage, and the other has in terms of the tankiness with the Leoric and Arthas. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out. One last thing, compLexity does have the potential for a mule. Not sure if they'll take it, but it is a possibility.
Yeah. Do you think they will? Because we certainly see that, especially on the kind of coin-op maps, if you will, where you pay for something and you get shots to come out of some sort of objective on the battleground. But it's kind of touch and go whether you see it on kind of the monster maps or the crisis management maps. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really know. You really do on Tyrande give up something that's pretty good. You give up the Lunar Blaze, so you're giving up the extra range on her Lunar Flare. Makes it a little bit easier for you to follow up on stuns. Be the kind of, if you're just still running in and maybe Muradin catches somebody with a Stormbolt, then you can throw out that Lunar Flare from a little bit further back to catch that. So that would be something pretty big to give up. You're right. I think probably because this isn't a Sky Temple or Blackheart's Bay, I think we'll probably see the Lunar Blaze instead.
Well, these teams are ready to go. We're going to have, in blue, again, compLexity. We're going to have Caterpillar on Muradin, Hans on Tyrande, Trummel on Kael'thas, Blinks will take Rhaegar, and Jaximus will be on Vala.
And in the red, it's Team Blaze with Sam playing Arthas, Jason on Sylvanas, Rafflecopter playing Jaina, Uther played by D-Noob, and in the bottom will be Leoric, once again played by Claudius. Leoric was on the other side last time.
Right. We have all 5 members of compLexity charging toward the mid lane here. It looks like Team Blaze is going to have an answer. They do have 4 members up here and looking for an engagement, but not being willing to go too far out there for it. Pretty smart on behalf of compLexity there.
Yeah, this can happen on Dragonshire as everyone kind of pushes toward the mid, trying to maybe pick somebody off and then move to their lanes afterward. Stun goes down on D-Noob. Not going to be too much of an issue, though. Claudia's going to Wraith walk away just in case. We're going to see them start to spread out. Teams might choose here to kind of do the strategy of rotating between mid and bottom. They're actually got a Hammer of Justice down on Caterpillar, who's going to be able to Dwarf Toss over the bushes, stay safe for now.
Yeah, if he were a squishier hero, he would have been a goner, but Caterpillar can take quite a few hits, so he's not going to be too concerned. Looks like we may have a Vice closing on Jaximus and Trummel, though the stun does go down on Trummel, and Kael'thas will fall.
Jason was the loveliest of bait there. He stayed around just long enough to wait for his team to be able to come back in and take him out, and or save him rather. And that was a great play there by Blaze, being able to pick up on that. Now remember, they've got the Sylvanas, so they can very easily, if they get sort of ahead in terms of heroes in a lane, just take down an entire tower, start to get ahead in experience.
Yeah, we have Psalm up here all by his lonesome. He's going to be laning, and Psalm, of course, on Arthas is the other player that will, once we see Syndragosa, predictably, we will have dual mini curses on the side of Team Blaze. So having them in opposite lanes is going to be really helpful in terms of keeping complexity on their toes with structures.
And Caterpillar got totally stuck in a corner and was taken out. So now 2 takedowns to none for Blaze, starting to get ahead a little bit in this early game. And because they do have that Arthas up top, that's not really something that Blinks can handle, as Arthas does a lot of damage. So they were able to hold that top shrine. They even took down Kael'thas and pick up the Dragon Knight all at the same time. Level 4 talents, they're nearly a level ahead already.
That was a very speedy and surgically executed Dragon Knight this early in the game. I mean, just having the shrines and immediately grabbing the Dragon Knight while having complexity out of position was really a great play by Team Blaze. Unfortunately, though, the Dragon Knight not going to be super powerful this early in the game. He's going to manage to take both those towers out in the mid lane and is going to now rotate toward the bottom lane, looking to do more structural damage just to the defenses.
Yeah, Dragon Knight's not normally super effective. Oh no, Jaina is going to get taken out here. A great Lunar Flare there from Hans. But because they do have the Sylvanas who can stop the structures, it is a little bit more effective. They were able to get 3 towers on it, towers from it. And now Caterpillar's going to come in. They're going to try to pick up Claudius here, who is going to be stunned from a Lunar Flare, will go down. So they, at least Complexity were able to get a couple takedowns. And on top of that, maybe get back into the game. But Claudius, watch yourself, sir.
Yeah, Claudius actually, the Undying, very, very short at this point in the game, but he's going to be able to Wraith Walk away. And Jason, I thought it was pretty smart that Jason didn't leave immediately. Although he was completely outnumbered, he knew that complexity was pretty low and would want to timidly stay behind their wall. So he stayed and threw a few more pot shots there, and now we have empty walls in the bottom and in the mid lane for complexity.
Yeah, and even up top, Arthas has done a number on these towers too. They're all out of ammo. They've taken a little bit of damage. Poor Blinks can't really contend with that, and because he's up there, I mean, they've got one healer in terms of Tyrande, but they don't really have their support coming in trying to supplement Team Blaze too, so or supplement the rest of the members of complexity down here. So really aggressive Team Blaze early on, willing to maybe put themselves out of position, lose a couple of heroes in order to get a very good early push on.
Yeah, some just bullying Blinks up here in the top lane, just saying, yeah, that's fine, you can stand right there, but I'm still going to take down your tower. And Blinks doing his darndest, but not being able to get too close to Psalm.
Yeah, he's really having a heck of a time with that Frozen Tempest. I mean, Psalm's almost out of mana, so at least Blink's like, well, once he runs out of mana, right?
Yeah.
But you still have Frostborn Hunger, so you can still use that, get a little bit of mana back. In fact, I think he's just going to go to a fountain. Yes, he is. So the push is never ending. It looks like Caterpillar and Hans, though, they are ready. They've had enough with this push. They're going to come in. Stormbolt will go down. Another stun into a Lunar Flare, and now they've taken out the Arthas threat.
Speaking of surgical removal, that was well executed. I love those kind of traps, and that's going to really slow down the Team Blaze dream, which was to keep that push constantly going in the top and the bottom lane with these two mini cursors. And that's going to foil the plans for a second Dragon Knight as well, because now there's nobody from Team Blaze as a representative in the top lane to get that shrine.
Yeah, it looks like instead, Team Blaze are more than happy to just push in on this fort. There's only Vala here to defend. 4 members of Blaze are here. This fort is already low, and it's going to go down thanks to that Sylvanas keeping it from being able to attack. And that's exactly what they can do. They were able to protect a shrine at the same time. Unfortunately, they're going to lose their Arthas, who was stunned into oblivion. But that's okay. I think they're willing to take that trade as they've got their heroic abilities. And start to rotate around, maybe get some takedowns of their own. And look what they've picked up, Anna.
What is it, Gilly?
We've got March of the Black King for Leoric. as well as Syndragosa, the water elemental. We might even see it here. Divine Shield has to go down on Sylvanas. It's another one they picked up. There goes the Wailing Arrow. That's the final heroic ability for Blaze. And now you're going to see really aggressive Banshees come in, try to take down Caterpillar, but it's going to be Jaina who goes down here as a Great Vault comes in and takes down 2 more members. So now 3 people down on side of Blaze. compLexity kind of have the field, you might say.
Claudia's showing up. Team? You're gone. Yeah, that was quite an engagement for compLexity, and I think that we're seeing how important synergy of heroics is going to be for Team Blaze in those team fights. They're really built well for the split push, but they're going to have to be together if they want to win out in those skirmishes. That's going to mean that compLexity has plenty of time to make sure the shrines are theirs, and they go ahead and grab this next Dragon Knight. Now, will they be able to do as much structural damage as their opponents did?
Well, it is a bit stronger. They got the Phoenix down, so it looks like they're going to be able to take down both of the towers here. They might be looking at a split push too. It looks like no, Trumbull is just trying to rotate around, maybe put some damage on Jaina. So they're Blaze is being able to take down this dragon fairly quickly. We may not see a fort go down, and that means the Blaze would still be ahead in terms of structures, but actually not in experience now.
Yeah, I mean, we now have almost a level in favor of compLexity, and that's not where this push-centric composition from Team Blaze wants to be. They are going to get the pickup on Tyrande. They're also going after Caterpillar, who we've seen be very difficult to catch, but Psalm is there waiting with the Frozen Tempest. Caterpillar still staying low. He's going to get stunned, and he will go down. That means that Team Blaze can easily grab this siege camp. Though Trumbull tries to stop them with a Phoenix, they don't want to stand on top of that, but they do manage to capture the siege giants, and they're going to retreat to their side of the map. So that was a pretty good answer for the situation they found themselves in.
Yeah, that Arthas play was amazing, realizing that, hey, he's going to dwarf toss right over this bushes because he did it earlier in the game. So realizing the play of their opponents and adapting mid-game. Great job by Blaze. compLexity have picked up their heroic abilities as well as now 13. They've got Avatar, Starfall, and Phoenix, that cool combination that we see sometimes, and then the Ancestral Healing and Strafe too. So a lot of area damage between Strafe, the Phoenix, and the Starfall.
They can really benefit from being in small, confined areas. So they're really going to want to engage in areas that are hard to get into and out of, which aren't quite as common on this battleground as some of the others.
Yeah, if they can maybe catch people at some giants or kind of in the corridors up between the shrines and the 2 shrines and then the actual Dragon Knight, that would be what they want to do. And now Cloudy's going to get back. Here comes the Syndragosa in, and will we see the March of the Black King? Wailing Arrow is down, and so is Tyrande. She was able to drop the Starfall, but here goes Caterpillar. He does get the Ancestral Heal, but he's still very low, and will go down. The Strafe came in, though, and Psalm and Dinoob are both pretty low. Claudius, too. He's not going to be able to get away. Wraithwalk was just a little bit late. So 2 for 2 there. Very close engagement from both teams.
Yeah, both teams running away bleeding. They didn't get what they wanted, either of them, out of that. But now we're going to see... Oh, Jason was heading bot to try to aid this push from the Siege Giant that's still down there, but Trumbull's going to be able to easily dispense of that. The bottom shrine will now go to Team Blaze, but Blinks is up here at the top, ensuring that the top one turns blue for compLexity. It's not going to be an easy Dragon Knight for either team this time.
Nope, they're going to try to just seesaw back and forth, make sure they're holding at least one shrine or the middle until one of them can get a takedown. But Arthas is up here, and we've seen what happens when Rhaegar tries to take on Arthas one-on-one. So now compLexity instead are going to head into the middle. They really want to try to stop Claudius. The Stormbolt does not hit, but the Sentinel does. So now they are going to be able to pick it up, and there is the next Dragon Knight going the way of Team Blaze.
The Ice Block doesn't quite protect Blinks. He does manage to stay alive, but is not able to outrun his opponents. Rafflecopter, Dinoob, and Psalm will now come join Claudius, who is in the Dragon Knight. Looks like they have their sights set on this fort. It's going to boot Caterpillar, which is great. That means no warrior is there to protect squishy little Trumbull, who does get poked by the sword, but then we'll see Arthas retreat.
We're going to see Blaze try to make a lot happen here because their opponents are nearly 16 and Kael'thas is on that team. So he's going to really power spike once he gets that Ignite talent for his Flame Strike. One that applies Living Bomb every time he hits Flame Strike on them. So they're going to make a lot of plays here. It looks like they've already taken down 1/4. They're going to get this final one as well, but still no keep down. And it could be really hard to siege into those keeps against a Kael'thas for a team.
Yeah, we saw Claudius actually kind of stay down there at the mid lane to threaten more action as the Dragon Knight, while the rest of his team went up to split push and dispense of that top fort. But that means that they weren't using the Dragon Knight's special abilities to their full potential. I wonder if that was a good trade, Gilly.
Well, we'll have to see. You definitely want to try to get a lot of damage done to a team before they get 16. They actually don't quite have it yet, and Blaze do have it, but it's not really enough of a window, as there they are. We will have 16 talents being picked up for both teams. We'll have Cold Embrace from Sylvanas, so that's going to help with the team fights. She will be making enemies vulnerable, but there is the Ignite. 2, we also have the Shooting Star, so it's going to be dealing more damage as well. So a lot more damage coming out from compLexity at 16.
I'm seeing Leoric actually also grabbing Burning Rage instead of the full health gain build that we sometimes see, and that's going to synergize pretty well with March of the Black King, usually taken when you need to do a little more damage with that warrior, so not too surprised to see that there, but he's going to try to add to the amount of damage that his team can do, which I think is a good decision at this point. Yeah,
when he's going to be out in front, it makes sense to have that on him. And they are going to, because they do have 2 warriors, it makes sense that they would focus on damage a little bit more with them. They also have 2 spell shields, though, on Arthas and Sylvanas. So realizing that Kael'thas is going to be a problem. Here goes the Syndragosa. It's kind of a weird angle. Doesn't really get anybody there from compLexity. So Blaze probably going to disengage. At 70 seconds, they won't have it now. And Water Elemental was also used.
Yeah, we've seen these heroic abilities be down a lot for Team Blaze, or at least not up at the same times. I really would like to see, like you mentioned, the Syndragosa into March of the Black King. That could be really, really cool. But we just have March of the Black King available now for Claudius. Will he use it? No, he's going to get stunned, and it looks like he will have to Wraithwalk out of the way as the Siege Giants go to compLexity.
Yeah, that really hurt Blaze to use both of those heroic abilities. So they did a good job of not wasting them just for those giant pickups, but that doesn't mean they don't have something pushing. They are still up, so that's definitely nice. They're going to start needing to look at the shrines, but they've also got their sights set a little bit on these bridges. They need to be careful. They are split up a lot. Claudius is going to get stunned by a great Lunar Flare too. He's going to Wraithwalk out of there. Arthas is not with this team, so they need to be a lot more careful that they're not going to get caught out here.
Arthas is in fact going to grab that top shrine. That's going to gain the attention of compLexity, who are roaming together. They are a dangerous death ball when they are together. We're going to have the bottom shrine going to Team Blaze as well. Now they're going to be looking to grab the Dragon Knight, but compLexity does not want to allow them to do that. They are waiting. Leoric is going to be stunned and taken down. There goes Syndragosa. But we see more heroic abilities go down. We see a Starfall and Phoenix really zoning Team Blaze out of the way of compLexity, but also they're able to fall back and take the Dragon Knight. That means Psalm is going to be leading the charge. Caterpillar getting very low, but is going to be healed up. Even though he's stunned, rooted, and blizzarded, he is still alive.
Oh man, and Rafflecopper using her ice block right in time for when the flame strike would hit to be able to save herself. So now she's back in the fight with full health, ready to throw out more freezing talents. Leoric did go down once again. That is kind of the problem with maybe spawning right in front of your enemies, but he can also cheat death, as you often say, by throwing out some invisibilities and stealing some health back, getting back to the fight. He's almost there now. But a great steal by Psalm to be able to get that Dragon Knight. I didn't think it was going to happen, but just kind of snuck in from the side and grabbed it while everyone else was kind of posturing around the Phoenix and the Starfall.
Yeah, compLexity was feeling happy about protecting themselves with that zoning, but forgot that what they were protecting was outside the zone.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So we will see that these 2 towers and wall will fall. The mid lane is now open, and once they are able to get that keep, that will help a lot with making sure that the push is ever in their favor as they now deal with, like you mentioned, that late game Kael'thas and those hefty damage dealers.
Both teams also getting pretty close to 20, and it looks like compLexity might have Team Blaze running back in to try to stop them, but it's not going to be soon enough. So they will be able to pick up those Giants. Blaze was trying to do what compLexity did to them in the last round, but weren't quite able to do so, so they're going to back away. We're going to see them, I think, lane quite a bit here. Neither wants to get caught in a position where they are not 20 and their opponents are, especially as the next Dragon Knight could be really detrimental toward compLexity. I'm looking, and Blaze still has all their forts, so wow, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well in the structural game, which really speaks to how well their opponents are doing in the hero damage game, although they're really only separated by 2 takedowns.
Yeah, so just a really good job then by compLexity of making sure to stay in their lanes. And they really have been constantly in lanes, making sure to keep them pushed, as they haven't been able to, or they haven't lost a keep yet. And that is a great, considering they're up against a Sylvanas and an Arthas with the Syndragosa. There's a vault, almost takes down Sylvanas. Divine Shield going to save her, and a great Ice Block once again keeps Rafflecopter safe. So now we are going to see the engagement with the Syndragosa. Roots going down on Jaximus, but Jason's got to be careful. There were several members of Blaze so low when we started this engagement, and a Flame Strike is going to be able to take out Sylvanas. So although they did a really good job of avoiding a lot of those heroic abilities, they were so low at the start of that. It was kind of rough for them to go back in and engage.
We did finally see the Syndragosa into March of the Black King, which
Nice.
was cool, but it didn't quite do enough damage without follow-up to be devastating for compLexity. And Sylvanas, man, she survived a lot longer than I thought she would.
Yeah.
So props to Uther especially.
Oh yeah, he had like a really good cleanse. He had other stuff as well. Rafflecopter's got to be careful here, but they almost could catch Jaximus. Jaximus dodging everything though. Oh my gosh, dodges the Howling Blast, dodges so many other things. Gonna be able to get away, gets away even while being slowed a little bit from Jaina. So not gonna be able to get a takedown to kind of compensate for the fact that they don't have Sylvanas for a few more seconds, but she should be back up before there's any big fights over that dragon.
So we're at an interesting point now, Gilly, where we have reached level 20, so there's going to be no more talents to change a team's advantage over the other. Of course, there's still scaling that has to do with leveling, but these teams have shown that they stay pretty even in that realm. There is a huge structural lead for Team Blaze, so if they can continue to push the status quo, that may mean that they have the advantage.
Yeah, and they are going to push it. There's the Syndragosa now, and that was a huge one. Vala is down. There goes Muradin. Also, Kael'thas goes down. Only Hans and Blinks remain. Blinks is going to be able to heal Hans up, but Claudius jumps right back in and does a ton of damage to Haas. There's the Numbing Blast. Keeps Hans rooted, takes her down, and only Blink remains. So now they're immediately going to Dragon Knight. They realize, though, you gotta know that Rhaegar is actually, Blinks is not even gonna try for it. He's gonna go straight back home. Psalm and Jason already doing serious work to this keep. I think they're gonna try to end it here.
Yeah, it looks like the Dragon Knight will be pushing alongside the middle. Psalm and Jason already going to take that down probably before he even gets there. That paves the way to the core, and we're already seeing GG's.
GG's are down, yeah, actually from the Team Blaze first. But yeah, still 20 seconds even until Vala is up. We're at an 18-minute Dragon Knight, so it does a ton of damage. And that is going to be it, a 2-0 victory for Team Blaze here.
Well executed. This team showed really great synergy, and like you mentioned, showing compLexity how they would go ahead and use Arthas and Leoric together as dual warriors, and it worked out for them. Though I don't think that in this case it rode on the heroic abilities. I think it rode mostly on the multi-pronged push that Team Blaze managed to maintain for most of this game.
Yeah, I thought that their positioning at the beginning of team fights was so amazing because they had Leoric out in front, just where you want your front line, very strong hero to be. But because they had two of those, Arthas could kind of flank, which is really cool. We saw it miss like one time, but other than that, we had, you know, Leoric in the front, Sylvanas and Jaina who were spread out, so they weren't getting hit by a lot of those flame strikes. And then Arthas would come from the side and throw out the Syndragosa, and like as they would push compLexity into the Syndragosa, they would just walk straight into it and be so slowed down that then, especially in that last team fight, like the Wailing Arrow came back, there was so much damage on top of it. By that point, Arthas would run in with Frozen Tempest, and Jaina, of course, was slowing people down as well. And then, like you mentioned, the March of the Black King, a lot of damage that it was just impossible for compLexity to get away from.
Yeah, it's interesting you put it that way because they kind of were allowed to have two front lines, Team Blaze was, so they could arrange themselves and be ready for a second battle while they were in the first battle. You know, we have so much mobility and the ability to stand back in the back line from compLexity, but if you have two front lines as Team Blaze, that doesn't necessarily matter too much.
Yeah, and the double warrior is just so good on Dragonshire anyway. It's one of those, it's the battleground that really a lot of times focuses on skirmishes over big team engagements. Yes, you have those team engagements, but you a lot of times have a lot of those smaller skirmishes around those shrines and in the jungle when you're rotating too. So being able to have kind of a front line or a tank no matter where the skirmish is happening is very advantageous. And they really took advantage of that and did a fantastic job.
Yeah, well played, Team Blaze. Do we know yet who our next match will be? Are we going to go straight to the finals, or are we going to get to jump into a third match?
I actually don't have the bracket up. Does it say on the bracket if either team is advanced?
It does not say. We only have one game completed on the bracket, and that has gone to Panda Global over Ignition Gaming. So we'll check with the admins, guys, and we'll be back after that, and maybe we'll bring you a game 3, or it'll be the finals.
Sounds good. Either way, more heroes coming up, guys, so stay tuned and we'll see you in a bit.